A lot of news tonight. What a difference 24 hours can make. Reports tonight that we may not have seen the last of Rod Rosenstein. The Deputy Attorney General was apparently ready to quit yesterday, but was worried about Trump coming after him. And today's sources are telling the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post that he will survive at least until after the midterms. If he is indeed staying, my next guest wants him in front of Congress before the week is out. Joining me now, Congressman Jim Jordan. Your reaction to these reports, and we have another piece of news that we're going to talk about in a moment as well.
That's up to the White House. Here's what I know: you got the guy who, in effect, is running the Department of Justice, who, in front of subordinates, is talking about recording the commander-in-chief. That is never supposed. Do we really want that to happen in the United States of America? The same guy who fired Comey, the same guy who hired Mueller, the same guy who signed the third FISA renewal, the same guy who threatened a House Intelligence Committee staffer, and the same guy who's made it difficult for us to get the documents we need, is now in some meeting, according to the New York Times, threatening to actually record the President of the United States.
That's a joke. It's sarcastic.
I don't care if it's
sarcasm. This is a setup. They say it's a setup for the president. Fire him, and it's going to be a constitutional
Well, whether the president fires him or not, what we're saying is you need to come in front of the Judiciary Committee and answer our questions. The American people need to know what took place. Who was in that meeting? Was Andy McCabe in that meeting? Was Lisa Page? Was Peter Strzok?
And McCabe's notes, right? It's in McCabe's notes.
So McCabe must have been there, but who else was there? We need to talk to those people as well. So this is the kind of thing that, again, when you're the guy running the Justice Department, which is what Rod Rosenstein is in effect doing, you can't be making statements like that, even if you are joking around. I want to know who was in that room and what took place. Well,
there's another report tonight that Trey Gowdy and Bob Goodlatte from Oversight and Judiciary have invited Loretta Lynch, former Attorney General, Sally Yates, former Acting Attorney General, and I think one other person, Jim Comey, to come back to testify on Capitol Hill. They've sent out letters. Politico is reporting this tonight.
I think it's going to take more than an invitation. I think it's going to take a subpoena.
Yeah, they're not going to like stroll up and say, "What do you need?" Right?
Of course not. I mean,
I want Susan Rice back. I actually want her on Capitol Hill.
I would like a lot of people.
I want the unmasking.
Here's the other news too. We know next week Jim Baker, former chief counsel at the FBI, was demoted and then left the FBI, but former chief counsel is going to be in for a deposition. That's important next Wednesday, and then in a couple of weeks, October 19th, we have Nellie Orr.
Nellie.
Wife of top Justice Department official Bruce Orr.
Is this the first time?
First time. So that's important as well. But again, it may take subpoenas for them to be there so we can get the questions answered that we need answered.
This is what Adam Schiff on MSNBC said last night about the GOP, basically you, and the rule of law. Let's watch.
Right now, we need to be sounding the alarm, and we need to be calling out the Republican members of Congress who have been all too timid and at times complicit with the president's attacks on the rule of law. The Speaker and the Senate leader cannot plausibly claim anymore, if they ever could, that the prospect of interfering with the special counsel is theoretical. It's real.
Yeah, it's focusing on the kind of the special counsel deal. They're all worried about protecting the special. They're not worried about protecting the rule of law, but they're worried about protecting the special counsel.
The rule of law. Remember what took place here. The Clinton campaign paid for the dossier, a piece of garbage document. They took that document, dressed it all up to a secret court to get a warrant to go spy on a fellow American citizen associated with the Trump campaign, using one party's opposition document to go spy on the other party. And he's talking about we're infringing or hurting the rule of law. That is why we're focused on this. The kind of thing that took place there should never happen in this country, and we know that it did. That's why we need Rod Rosenstein in front of us to answer questions about all this. That's why we need Lynch, Comey, all these people who were involved.
Simpson's also been invited, apparently, according to the Politico reporting. Glenn Simpson.
I think Glenn Simpson said something to the Intelligence Committee that's not square with what Bruce Orr told us in his deposition. I think he's got some real concerns, and he should be in front of us as well.
Jim Jordan, we're going to be following this very closely. Thanks for the update.
You bet.